Hello everybody, welcome to WhatCulture Gaming. I'm Scott, joined by Ash.
Hello!
Ash, my friend, as a fellow Xbox aficionado, we've gathered together to talk about the leaked Xbox Series S, which was codenamed Lockhart for the longest time. It's part of the whole Project Scarlet thing. And as much as Microsoft aren't announcing anything officially, some dude just called Zach S over on Twitter has managed to buy a brand new Xbox controller, which on the side of it, for the next generation, on the side of it, just says that it supports Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X. So we know that the Lockhart is Xbox Series S. What do you think of their ridiculous naming convention?
My favourite bit there is that you specified, for the new Xbox, the controller. So,
not
news,
the Xbox One.
A man has bought a controller.
The Xbox One, yeah, you know what I mean.
I don't know what to think about this other than hooray that it's actually starting and things are being like listed and stuff. But how has it happened that it's managed to buy one without it actually officially coming out or anything?
It was
That's
on
my main question.
It was on a website called Offer Up, apparently, and this dude's posted a whole bunch of different screenshots of it. I mean, it could be an immaculate replica, it could be an immaculate fake, but it seems to be the real thing. But like you said before we started recording, the only real difference between the Series X/S controller and the Xbox One controller is there's three buttons in the middle that are a little bit different, and the D-pad looks a little bit different. But other than that, it's pretty much the same thing.
The D-pad is beautiful though. I really like the little pixely looking D-pad. The D-pad's good. But yeah, the other button, great, wonderful, great. I think that this new generation looks exactly like this one, and whilst that's good that they're kind of just tweaking what's already a good thing for them, or they feel is a good thing for them. They just want to kind of make improvements from there rather than going from the ground up. It being so close to this generation is just proving very hectic. I can never remember the name of it because I'm like, Xbox One X, Xbox One S, and then Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, when it should just be Lockhart and Anaconda, and then, I don't know, maybe a different colour would have been good if it had all been in a light grey or something.
I feel sorry for parents and grandmas everywhere trying to buy stuff for Christmas, just trying to sort of go through the sea of different versions. So there are some details on this. If you go back to the original reports about the Xbox, when it was just called the Lockhart, when it was the meant to be the console that's going to come out alongside the big budget one. And so that's the whole thing with the Lockhart/Series S, is that it's the budget alternative to the Series X, which seems to be the way that they're going forward. Obviously, they did that this generation with the Xbox One S, and the X was then the big high premium one. So according to Games Radar, looking through the report that appeared back in June, I'm just going to read some tech stuff. I don't know what any of this stuff means, but I'm going to cover it because people will. So Games Radar reported that the Series S, the new one, the new budget one, has 7.5 gigs of usable RAM, a slightly underclocked CPU speed, and around 4 teraflops of GPU performance.
Oh, the teraflops!
I know, compared to the Xbox Series X, the big premium one, having 13.5 gigs of usable RAM and 12 teraflops of GPU performance. I don't know what any of that means, but looking at the numbers, the new one is about half. So how does that grab you?
What?
Yeah.
What?
The new budget one is about half of the overall power, apparently.
Okay, sorry, you just threw so much tech at me then and went, halve it. I was like, no, I don't know what that means.
I can't half it more.
I think if that reflects in the price point, it's about half the price point, then great stuff. Like having an accessible price point for a new generation console, I think is something that would be very, very good and very inclusive and get lots of people on board with what Xbox is trying to do, doing this whole new generation of kind of games for everyone, with Games Pass and everything. I think that would fit their model really, really well, and having a cheaper console that does a bit less but still allows people to get all of this backwards compatibility as well as the new stuff in one go. So yeah, wonderful. That's a good idea. Just halve it, but also it only works if you halve the price point. If it's going to be £50 cheaper, no, thank you. Not for half the tech.
Half the flops. I know. I'm going to get onto the price stuff in a sec. But another part of this report mentions resolution. So obviously going forward, they want to 4K is going to be the standard. We're going to be moving into 8K stuff, whatever. The resolution for the Xbox Series S is apparently either 1080p or it goes up to 1440p. So again, I don't know that much of the tech side, but obviously I know that HD TVs max out around 1080p. So if you have a 4K TV set, you could still then get the budget of the budget version of the next Xbox and still get a resolution boost. So a lot of modern 4K games will start out in 1440 and then get up-resed. So I guess even that is quite a good way to go, that you could get the budget console next generation, but if you've already invested in a 4K TV, it still pays off. I don't know if you're on board with the 4K stuff. I gave in last Black Friday.
Oh no, see, the tech stuff for me, it's very much, I just really care about what games they're putting out on it and what like I can play. And whilst the tech part of that is really important and all the innovative ways that they can make it look beautiful, if it's a good story, I'm still going to play it. Like I'm still going to crack out the PlayStation 2 or the old Xbox and play an old blocky, graphic, like cornered face, like person game. So it doesn't bother me that much personally, but I know for a lot of people and a lot of gamers and serious gamers who obviously play at competitive levels and that sort of thing, then having good graphics and having crystal clear bits and bobs and great upload speeds and all that sort of thing is important. So.
Yeah, like our very own Mr. JB, Mr. Josh Brown, he's the most like laser focused chap on all this stuff, because I don't even know, there's a whole world of nits if you're going to get into HDR. Apparently that's the way that they measure it or something. He was telling me about nits. I don't know what he's talking about, but if you're a big fan of the old nits and the resolutions and getting the most out of the next console, then you're probably going to go with the premium one anyway. But I like that they're supplying something for the people that maybe gave into the 4K buying stuff across this generation, like me. The last thing,
a taste of it.
At least you can get something worthwhile from the next system. The next thing, which is the biggest contentious point, is the price. Because assumedly, again, according to the report back in June, the Series S will be half the price of the Series X. But right now, we have no idea what that is, because neither Microsoft or Sony will, like, I don't know, announce what the hell their price points are. They're just continually having a game of chicken.
That's all the noise I have for that is like it's getting close enough to like Christmas sort of time and holiday 2020 time that a price needs to come out. And people need to know what they need to put aside for this budget. Like it's getting to the point where it's like,
it's kind of ridiculous. Yeah.
Like they know that they're going to be priced basically the same anyway. Like they're not really going to differ that much because of the way this whole competitive thing works. And yes, maybe they'll have better deals, or one will be slightly cheaper than the other if they manage to undercut. But if Xbox are doing this literal half-price console, I don't feel like they have that much to lose by announcing first and then saying, well, we've got this half-price one, and then PlayStation can do whatever they want in response, as in if they're going to match it, if they're going to try and be a bit lower or whatever. You know what? If they announce it and the other one tries to undercut, either way, if one of them tries to undercut it, then just undercut again and just keep on going is what I say.
Yeah, a race to the bottom. I mean, those sorts of things obviously always benefit the consumer, but it's a really weird thing at the minute, because as far as I know, this is the closest that we've ever got to a console launch where the consumer doesn't know how much they're supposed to be paying, and we're just sort of vaguely saving up in the background. In a year that's been extremely hard to siphon off and keep money to the side anyway. It's just a really weird time. But what's your overall thoughts on, I guess, how they've been handling the run-up to launch? Like, where are you at in terms of general excitement or favorability?
I really like that they're taking different directions with everything. I really, really like that Xbox is kind of embracing their family brand and going as an entertainment system that has, again, like Games Pass and this like live service stuff, more multiplayer things. They've got that option. And then PlayStation is kind of hammering home their single narratives and like peak of gaming experience sort of stuff. And you can kind of pick which one that you want to do. And Nintendo just out there doing their thing, doing their handhold thing, like having a nice time. But between those two, I'm really excited that we've got options and it's not like a straight console war between the two. That's basically my whole opinion on it. Yes, it's really nice that there's at least different avenues for both of them to be taking. I'm excited for both of them and to see what actually happens with both of them. The amount of leaks and excitement and stuff surrounding them is interesting, but I just kind of want the solid facts at this point, especially since we're going off like weird, potentially fake controllers being bought from strange websites that we're then dissecting going, yes, a console
Maybe, I don't know.
exists.
It is weird that, like, some of the most sort of propulsive pieces of news regarding the next, like, console have come from some dude on Twitter this year, as opposed to last year when they first sort of mentioned the system at the Video Game Awards. Microsoft could really do with clarified some stuff. I mean, same on the Sony side when it comes to price, because on the Sony side, they've got the discless version of the PS5, which assumedly will be cheaper, but they haven't said. And on the Microsoft side, it seems, I mean, obviously they haven't mentioned anything about discless stuff, but they did have the all digital version of the Xbox One S. So it seems like it's all to play for. I think in regards to the game side, Microsoft could still do with some big thing to hang all these versions of consoles on. Like if their play is, hey, you can play games wherever, it would be good for those games to be appealing, as opposed to you can play all your, well, no, I just mean like in terms of, I'm not kicking them when they're down, but I just mean like, I mean, I'm all up for Craig. I'm loving a bit of Craig in Halo Infinite, but if you're going to do the whole sell of accessing as many games as possible, then that, you need new stuff alongside the old. I will take SSX3 on the train, but if they had something new to go alongside it, that might be better.
Yeah, I bless them, bless their souls. Because the whole like announcement show having like under most things like available only on this console. There wasn't that many that was available just on the Series X and S. It was all mostly available on both platforms. You could still get some Xbox One stuff, and I feel like that I feel like that kind of shows very much that they're not all about sales. They're not all about this console war. They're all about trying to harbour a brand rather than a consumer-driven, let's get all this money in and be really profitable. I feel like they're trying to do a reset from last generation still and changing their whole outward appearance. So it might not seem as appealing to buy one straight away when PlayStation 5 has this whole massive heap of games that look amazing. But I'd like to think that they're kind of going to invest in their brand and in their like selling points as the generation goes on, rather than trying to hinge everything on the opening, which we'll see how well that pays off, because it might not pay off well at all. It might come to bite them on the butt later down the line, or it might actually work really well and they actually do harbour the entertainment system, the family system, the multiplayer system, and take this new avenue and do really well with it. So
they're definitely like playing the long game. They want the Xbox brand to be like, I mean, it's multiple times they've sort of like steered into the whole Netflix for games. They make it as accessible as possible across as many different devices as possible. And that's an interesting play. But going up against the way the PS5 is rolling out, one of the only things left to slot in on the PS5 side is the price. Whereas I think that we're still waiting for the answer to why you should buy the Series X or the Series S or whatever other permutations they come out with. But let us know what you think down in the comments below of the potential split between both consoles. Are you going to go with the budget one, even if you've got a 4K TV, or are you going to wait it out and get the premium version going forward? For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com.
And I have been Ash here as well, also from WhatCulture.com.
And we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.